Namaste. Okay, you might think this is off topic for me because my subject is usually Vedic wisdom. But I consider this to be dharmic to the core. So here it is. What if I told you that the baby boomer generation, not every individual, but collectively as a generation, has become the most destructive generation of the modern era? I know that sounds harsh. It sounds uncomfortable. But stay with me for a few minutes because I want to share my thoughts on this, especially when it has to do with the mess that we are in right now. When you think about it, how did the generation that talked about peace, love, unity, consciousness, and spiritual awakening, how do they end up creating a world that is so unstable, so unequal, and so tense for the generations that came after them? So, in this video, I want to show you something very simple, that spirituality without Dharma is hypocrisy. And hypocrisy, when it controls power, becomes destructive. So, let me tell you a story. Actually, a life narrative. Not about one person, but about the baby boomer generation. About a pattern that happened to an entire generation. Imagine a young man born in 1950s. He is considered a baby boomer. He grows up in one of the most prosperous economic periods in modern history. His parents belong to what we call the silent generation. And these were people who survived the Great Depression here in the US. They survived World War II. They understood hardship. They believed in discipline, responsibility. They believed in saving money, building institutions. And they worked hard, and they created a stable society. Now, their children, the baby boomers, they grow up in the prosperity that their parents built. College is free or cheap. Housing is affordable. And jobs are everywhere. When they were growing up, the economy is booming. The government is expanding the middle class. Opportunity is everywhere. And in the late 1960s, this young man turns 20. And he rebels. He grows his hair long. He protests war. He talks about peace. He talks about love. He talks about unity. He discovers meditation. He follows spiritual teachers like Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. He says the old system is corrupt. He says, money does not matter, and love will change the world. And maybe for a moment, he truly believes that. But something strange happens. He benefits from the very system that he criticizes. He goes to college for a fraction of what it costs now. He buys a house in his 30s for a price that younger generations cannot imagine now. He enters a job market that is expanding. He invests early in the markets that grow for decades. And slowly, his thinking changes. He stops talking about changing the system. He starts talking about protecting his assets. He moves from spiritual rebellion to financial preservation. And by the time he is in his 50s, he holds power. He sits in the corporate boards. He works in government agencies, sets up financial institutions, university leadership. He starts media companies, works with policy and think tanks. And now, he's no longer the rebel. He is the gatekeeper. If you think about it, it's kind of funny, but not funny. The generation that once spoke about love, peace, consciousness, and freedom now controls politics, finance, now controls media, corporations, and policy. Baby boomers today hold an enormous share of the wealth. They control a huge portion of real estate. They dominate many leadership positions. And here is the worst part. Many of them are not stepping aside. They're not transferring power. They're holding on to it. They're not mentoring the next generation to replace them. They are holding on to their power and wealth. And when younger leaders in their circle appear, they are often mentored by the same system. They are mentored to protect the same interest. They are mentored to maintain the same structures. They're not mentored to disrupt the system. They're mentored to preserve it. And this is how power reproduces itself in the United States of America. Now, here is the deeper issue. Spirituality without Dharma is meaningless. In fact, spirituality without Dharma becomes something else. it becomes a fanatical religion. Religion talks about love. Religion talks about peace. Religion talks about unity. But Dharma demands responsible action. Dharma demands fairness. Dharma demands balance between generations. Meditation without justice is just performance. Yoga without responsibility is just marketing and branding. Spiritual language without fairness is hypocrisy. And hypocrisy, when it holds power, becomes dangerous because it believes it is good while creating imbalance in the world. Now, according to Dharmic philosophy, what are elders supposed to do? The Dharmic model of life has stages. Birth to age 21, you are a student. Then up to age 40, a householder. Then up to age 60, a seeker of truth, elder. Life after 60, a mentor and a renunciate. In the later stages of life, the duty of elders is not to accumulate more power. Their duty is to guide, to mentor, to transfer wisdom, to prepare the next generation, to take responsibility, and most importantly, to step aside with dignity so that society can renew itself. This is dharmic. Elders should protect the future, not dominate it. They should open doors for the younger generation, not close them. They should leave a stronger system, not a locked up system. Now, look at what happens when that does not happen. When power remains concentrated in one generation for too long, the systems become rigid. Institutions become defensive. Innovation slows down. Reforms get delayed. In an environment like this, young people feel blocked, and the resentment grows. And resentment creates openings for corrupt leaders. This is why this conversation is not really about personalities, because corrupt leaders will always exist. This is human nature. The real question is whether the system is strong enough to stop them. A healthy civilization does not depend on the virtue of one leader. It builds systems that restrain power, because eventually someone dangerous will appear. And when that happens, the system must be strong enough to stop them quickly If it cannot, then I'm afraid the problem is not only the leader. The problem is the design of the system. So, what can we do? At this moment, I would say, vote. No matter how inconvenient they make it to cast a vote, no matter how long the line is, no matter how confusing the system becomes, vote. Because voting is one of the few ways a society can peacefully kind of reset itself. Support sensible, younger leaders. Leaders who still have a future in the world that they would like to shape. Let the next generation take responsibility and let them make mistakes. Let them learn. Let them try to bring peace into a world in a different way that desperately needs it. Because power must circulate. If one generation holds power for too long, it stops serving society and it starts serving itself. And as you'll see what's happening now, those same leaders are willing to send your children to fight their wars, to protect systems that they themselves benefited from. That should make us think real hard, because sacrificing the next generation for your own security, that's not wisdom. It's not Dharma. And it is wrong. A healthy civilization has elders, but it does not allow power to stay in the same hands forever. Renewal is a part of Dharma. And until that happens, do not expect the chaos to disappear. Namaste.